it's 3 anyway. Okay. First of all, thank you all so much for joining us for our first session of TTT. And like I had put in the mail here, the teacher talk time actually is something that we're looking forward to, rather than being said no and not to do it and, asked to reduce the TTT. So that's something we're going to be free and free enough to talk as well. So through this TTT in Thinking, we're aiming to bring together a teacher community where we can share, learn, especially in this situation where, it's very difficult to adapt to online teaching and online methodologies. This kind of helps us when you have a community that helps to share and give more ideas in the classroom. So firstly, let me introduce my team here. Aparna Jayachandran, she is the academic director of Thinkeng, and Nikita Rajesh, she is the ESL trainer with us, and she's in fact one of the newbies on the block. So Aparna has been a teacher and a trainer for over 15 years. She's worked in British Council, Chennai, and has been an examiner for many Cambridge exams like CAT, PET, FCE, and BEC. A trainer who's pretty much seen it all, I would say. She's taught all age groups, and she's also done classes right from young learners to, very specific needs for adults. So she's kind of multifaceted when it comes not only to teaching, but to giving a lot of inputs to a lot of us here. And for those who don't know, incidentally, she's my mom too. So thanks, Ma, for all the inputs that you have been giving and the suggestions that actually go into pretty much all the sessions that I do with Thinkeng. And she's a huge part of the growth of Thinkeng for me as well. And next
thank you for that introduction.
Much deserved. So the next is Nikita. So Nikita is a fresh CELTA, and she is actually one of the, I would say, the millennial CELTA, because she did the online CELTA, in fact, with Usha, who a lot of us already know. And she passed her CELTA with a grade B as well. And she's been with Thinkeng for the last 4 months. Her enthusiasm and energy, and like you see, her smile is very infectious. And pretty much all the students love her classes. And she, in fact, has brought on board so much of new perspective because she did CELTA completely online. So she's given us a lot of ideas and helped us to kind of grow in terms of, where we are today in things with Thinkeng as well. And as of me, most of you all already know me. I'm Ambika, and I'm the founder of Thinkeng, and I worked in the communication and media industry for over 10 years now. And after which I kind of decided to switch my career into language teaching. And I think that to me would be the best decision ever that I have taken. And I've kind of enjoyed the whole journey till now a lot. And I've trained, in fact, various levels, various age groups, and wide demographic of students in the last 3 years. In fact, I would like to attribute that credit and opportunity that I got in Salem in London Language Center. In fact, I do have 2 of my ex-colleagues who've joined me today, Karthik and Sana. Both of them are from London Language Center. And I've, in fact, learned a lot through this journey. And this has also helped me develop as an entrepreneur and also try to lead the kind of initiatives that we are trying to bring in Thinkeng. So now I in fact, request all of you to give us a 1-minute introduction so that we all can know each other's, field of interest and understand each other's area of teaching as well. So can I request Chitranti to start with it, please?
Yeah, because this is rather scary, making me start.
No, that's fine.
So, hi everyone. Hello, thanks very much, Ambika, first of all, for the opportunity.
Definitely.
And a very good evening, good afternoon, whatever to everyone. My name is Chitra, and I've been teaching English for more than 20 years now, I guess. So started with school, and I was teaching children of different age groups, right from say around 9 to 10 years to teenagers for a very long time. Then came into language training via BC, British Council, of course. That's where I met Aparna and later on Ambika. And yeah, so I'm carrying on with my journey, language teaching and training.
That's wonderful. That's
Thanks a
wonderful.
lot.
Thank
Thank
you. Mary, can we hear a little about you?
Yeah. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mary. Really happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me, Aparna and Ambika. It's a joy to see you all again, and also to hear about the initiative that you've taken to bring about a change in many lives. I know definitely it's going to be a great opportunity for many people. So I have been a teacher for many years, actually 24 years. So I was teaching as a school teacher, English in schools, CBSE schools, for 13 years before I joined the British Council after my CELTA. And I worked with the British Council for 10 years, where Aparna was there. She was almost like my mentor. When I had any issues, I always went to her and I asked her. And she was ready to help. She was an open person who was always ready to help. Now, I thought I'll take a break and I resigned from British Council. But even before I resigned from British Council, I got an offer from IIT Madras and I'm taking some workshops for them, but not full time, only online jobs. So
That's
Great.
so I'm
Congrats on
busy
that.
even now.
very nice.
Great.
Very nice.
But you know, it's still there in my heart, all about while teaching and the passion that I have about teaching children, because teaching in IIT Madras is a completely different perspective. You know, you're teaching research scholars to do writing, improve their writing skills, but teaching kids is a different experience, and I would really enjoy doing
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely.
So thank you
It's
again
wonderful.
for inviting me.
Yeah.
It's wonderful to have you on board as well.
Thank you.
If I may interrupt, hi Mary. Hello after a very long time.
Yes.
Nice to see you again.
I hope you are
Sorry,
good.
I forgot to mention I met Mary as well. In fact, she was my mentor, Aparna, and she were my mentors at the British Council.
Hi, Chitra.
Really nice to see you.
I know.
I think all of us here, the others here, are quite lucky to have such experienced teachers that, speaking to us about, the YL. In fact, today, I think we couldn't have asked for anything better. Anyway, now probably, Rithika, could we move on to you? Can you tell us something about yourself?
Okay, so namaste everyone. My name is Dr. Rithika Chanchal, and I don't have like 20 or 15 years of experience. So I have like close to like over 6.5 years of teaching experience, and I've taught at college and school. Right now, I'm working with the Sri Ram School Aravali. I'm in Gurgaon, and yeah, I just love teaching and I love English language. I love exploring the intricacies of English language, and I was there with Nikita. So she was my basically group mate in CELTA. So I did my CELTA with Nikita. So I'm still into school teaching and I pretty much enjoy it. So this session is like it's going to be giving me newer insights because it has to do with young learners. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Definitely. Welcome, Rithika.
Thank you so much.
Vinodini, I think you're also. Can you hear us, Vinodini? You're on mute.
Yeah. Good
Hi.
afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon. Can you tell us something about yourself, like an introduction to the team, Vinod?
Yeah, sure. I started my career in the year 2009 because I don't want to stay without my daughter. So I ran behind her searching for a job in the school where she studied. That's how I started my career. And my major is actually biology. But wherever I went, I was given only English to teach to the students. So that is how my career with English started. And I also worked as a principal in one of the schools where I worked, and I was head of the department in two schools. And during the last before the pandemic, I was working in London Language Center, and I was shocked to see Kesh name in the list of participants. And that's the moment I
That is
okay. It was a good experience, and now I'm back to my village and I'm busy with my online classes. Not too busy, but I'm still looking for more students to bring into my classes. And I also have Hindi, and we do some activities during the weekends by celebrating international days. And this is how my career is now going on with my
Very
laptops and cell phones.
Very nice. At least it's still going on with the laptop. It doesn't have to come to a hall, thankfully, to online ways of teaching. Absolutely. Karthik, could we hear
Yes.
from you? Yes.
Yeah. So I did my certisol back in 2017 or something, and I taught there in Kerala for a year. But before that, I also taught in a school for almost a year. Almost a year. And after that, I joined LLC, London Language Center at Salem. And I've been working here for the past 2 years, mostly IELTS, general English classes. I mean, depends on students' requirements, I suppose. Like whatever the requirements, I switch my classes accordingly. Yeah, that's pretty much it, to be honest.
Thank you, Karthik. So
Yeah.
you're the one who's starting the YL right now, right? I think pretty much
Kind
everybody
of.
else is into the
Yeah.
Okay. And last but not the least, Sana. Yes, Sana. Sana, you just muted yourself.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes, Sana.
Good afternoon. This is Sana here, and thank you for this session, ma'am. First, so
Definitely.
I'm not a teacher, but I have been teaching kids for the past 5 years occasionally. So I'm working in London Language Center right now. Like my colleagues are here, and like that's it, ma'am. That's what I'm happy to be here.
Absolutely. Sana, if you teach kids, you are a teacer. It's as simple as that. If you're teaching, you are a teacher. there is no certification that comes with a teacher. You teach, you impart knowledge, you're a teacher.
Correct.
Okay. So that's wonderful to get to know everybody. So now moving on to our first section of our TTT, we have a mini workshop. I call upon Aparna to throw some light on interactive assessments for the young learners. Over to you, Ma.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes. I'm sorry. Just a minute. Yeah. One minute. There is a small error here.
Sure. Take it down.
Yeah.
Is it really a Zoom meeting if there are no
Wait,
technical-
yeah,
I know.
totally, I know. 1 second. Still juggling with technology. Yeah, am I sharing it?
Not
Or-
yet.
Are you able to see the screen?
No, Ma. Nothing as yet.
No? Okay. It's again coming as slideshow.
Could you first put share screen and then probably try to present some more?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bit slow.
Once it loads, it should be fine. Don't worry.
Okay. It's really slow. Yeah. Are you able to see the screen, all of you?
It's still loading.
Okay.
So you can start. It'll probably load up. So don't worry.
Right. Yeah. So as Ambika said, it's a great pleasure meeting all of you after a long time. And she already mentioned that we've started this initiative to have a connect as teachers as a community. And the main objective is to share resources, experiences, and help teachers who don't have exposure to such training or opportunities. And it's always good to know that we have someone to guide us or help us when we don't have enough ideas, and look forward to discussing it with people who have experience. You try out something and you can talk about it and get back to them and say it worked out well. So this is kind of a small initiative, starting off in a small way. So without further delay, I'd like to start the session by asking you all a question.
You might need to stop the share and start again. It's not, it's still loading.
Oh, okay. Now is it coming?
Yes. But we
Okay.
can see the presenter mode, Amma, not the slideshow.
Oh.
Okay, would you like me to share the screen?
Okay, yeah.
So you can keep that half open in yours. So you
Okay.
can go through it and.
Okay, now can you see the screen? Is it okay?
No. I'll share it, Amma.
Okay.
Could you stop the share, please?
Yeah. Sorry, so much of.
Yeah. Can you? Is it visible for all?
Yes.
Are we good to go? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. So I'll help you with the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So the next slide. I said we're going to start off with asking questions to you. No. Not this. First slide.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the difference between assessment of learning and assessment for learning? Can somebody give me what you understand from this? Anybody?
Can I give it a shot?
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Maybe for learning is before you teach them what they should be learning later. And maybe off learning is how much they've learned so far after you started teaching them. Maybe.
Okay. After the teaching is off learning. Okay. But
Yeah.
can somebody else try assessment for learning?
Muted.
Anybody
More
else?
of a diagnostic assessment to
Yeah.
decide what they have to learn, which areas they need to improve.
Correct.
And off
Correct.
learning.
Pre and basically pre and post
pre and
learning.
post.
So pre-test
Yeah.
and post-test kind of a thing.
Pre-test or post-test. But the main difference which is there is the assessment of learning is more of grading and giving marks and things. Whereas assessment for learning is more of understanding how much the students have got from the class and how much you need to do more for them. Like how Chitra said, it's more of a diagnostic. It can be through the course. It is not just at the end of the course or in the middle of the term of the course. It's through the course and it can be done every day in the class.
So basically it is a formative thing that we do like throughout.
Throughout, yes. It's a throughout process. Yes, next one. Yeah. So here I'm showing you the, you know what these are. I hope I'm not making you all hungry. You all have had your lunch. So this is McD, burger and biryani. So if you were to choose one of these, which would you and why? Anybody?
Difficult to answer.
I know both are.
Do I have to,
exactly.
I have to choose?
You have a choice. Think of how it would be in different places and then tell me whether you would go for burger or go for biryani.
Well, since I'm in India, I would choose the Indian dish.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would go
And any other reason why you would go for biryani and not a burger?
I just like it.
Biryani seems like the safe bet for me.
Okay. Any other? Okay. Think of it from the food part of it, the health
Yeah,
part of
it's
it.
more balanced, more balanced.
Balanced,
It has meat,
okay.
it has
Yeah.
carbs, it has protein,
Okay.
it has spices.
Right.
So balanced.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
do you have variety in biryani and do you have variety in burger? In the sense, if you go to McD in UK or McD in India, would you get the same kind of burgers?
Yeah.
It's the same.
The same. Whereas
It's the
biryani, do you get the same everywhere or is
No,
it different?
No.
it's
No.
definitely
It's
different.
different.
Definitely.
It's different.
So now,
even in
can
India.
you relate? Yeah, can you relate this to teaching then?
Yeah.
How can you relate this to teaching? So in a class, when you go and take your book, start teaching, take them to read the lessons, answer question answers, give them assessments, and they're done, they finish their portions. Yes. But what they need is variety. They really need variety. They don't need the monotony then. They need the variety. So for variety, we can introduce something for them as teachers. And next slide. For example, how do you wrap up a unit? In your class, if you were given a lesson, at the end of the lesson, how do you think you would wrap it up? Would you just ask them the questions or would you do something about it?
So
A
we
reflection.
Yeah.
No, in wherever where I teach, it's basically some sort of a follow-up activity. It has to do with some speaking activity or something, some sort of
Okay.
written postman, something
Right.
like that.
Right. Anybody else?
A reflection on
group.
what was done in the class so that
Okay.
they know what their takeaway was
Okay.
from the lesson.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Right.
just after the freer practice and the feedback, maybe error correction.
Right.
But the end
Yeah.
of the class, a reflection on what actually was the takeaway. That actually helps
Yes.
the teacher and the students. You know, the teacher, because the teacher
Yes.
knows what they have really got from the
Exactly.
lesson.
Yes.
And
Yes.
for the students
Exactly.
also, because they have an account of what they have learned. They cannot just go away and say,
Absolutely.
I learned something. But if you give them some time
Mm.
for reflection, they actually put down what they have learned in class.
Right.
Perfect. Perfect. Yes. Next.
Would you like me to go to the next slide?
Yeah. Yeah. Next. Yeah. Yeah. So here we're thinking of not just the activities, we're also thinking of assessments. So we were talking about the assessments. Now, how can you make it an interactive assessment? And why do we need interactive assessments? What are the benefits? So first is the students aren't under pressure at all. When you say exam, they get petrified, they don't want to write, they start sweating on their feet, on their fingers, they go blank. But here, it is for even for young learners, they get worried. I've heard small children coming and saying, I have an exam tomorrow, and maybe in the first standard. So for them, it's even the word exam is petrifying. But instead of that, you do a continuous interactive session in the class to assess them. It makes them very happy. They don't know that it's an assessment at all. Through games, you can do that. And they review what they learned, like what Mary said. They review what they learned in the class through the games. So they have a takeaway there itself. Next. Ambika.
Yeah, yeah.
And here, the advantage is the teacher can assess the students as a whole and also understand which are the learners who need more help. Because you normally put them into groups and you see them playing the games and you walk around and checking. Talking about face-to-face class. Now, in online classes also, you can monitor very well who are the ones who are interacting well and who are not interacting well. You're able to note down and understand who needs more help. So interactive assessment helps a lot in the young learners without much stress and they enjoy the games. Next. For example, here I've taken an example of this word search. For example, the teachers choose the, this is a website where you can create your own word search. So here you have this website, link is there, we will be sharing this. And here you have to create the word search. For example, here I've taken the household chores. So you have to add 10 words here, and it has to be minimum 10 words. So you've given 10 words here, and then you submit it. So once you submit it, you get the word search like this. So this will be your page. So the advantage here is you can just give it to them with the words, and they can mark the words. If they are very young learners, give the words on the side, and then they can search for the words there. If they are higher level students, they can actually be given just the word search table without the words, and they have to find out the words. So here they are given a time, a limit, and they enjoy doing that. And you can do this as a group activity or a pair activity. Break out rooms, give them this and tell them this is your game, you have to do this, and you have 3 minutes. So they're all competing to get the words right and not actually competing for marks. It's more for them to know what the words are. We get the first. We got the maximum number of words. We learned all these words. Sorry. So this helps the students to recollect what they learned in the class and also remember it very well because they are looking for it. We are not giving it to them. This is a teacher-led assessment. We're just giving it, doing it and giving it to them. They work on it. Right? Next. The next thing are not just vocabulary, you can also have for grammar. And here I've given the link for this again, we'll be sharing this. So here we have the game is there's a monkey and there's a tree there. And the students have to drag the correct words and put it into the box to complete the sentence. So once they do that, they get a point. So you can go do this as teams. So the children are super excited because they see some monkeys jumping around and they say, yes, we got it. So in that excitement, they learn, they notice that they have got, and if it is wrong, they know because they put a wrong word, it says, no, it's not right. So there it's just the teachers supporting it, that's all. But they're not actually completely taking over the game. So these things motivate the children to learn better. Yes, next. Sorry. Now, after all these games happen, then what do? The teachers have to make a note of the progress of the learners in the book. And that what you need to do is you should have a book of, you would already have an attendance of all the students. So as and when they're playing the game, you know who is more interactive, who is less interactive. Make a note of it. And also make a note of what they need to improve. Maybe they need only a particular type of grammar or maybe a particular type of words. Make a note of that for each student. And then when you have a conversation with the parent, you can tell the parents, so they're doing really well and never give the negatives first. Tell them they're really doing well, they're excited about, very interactive in class. They need a little help in these things. So we'll be giving a little extra support for that. And you could help the parents by giving extra worksheets, sending it to them to improve the child's weaker grammar points. And all this can be saved as a portfolio for you, for your assessment, and for you to self-reflect how the class went. Right? And it's not just about, next one, it's not about games led by teachers or not teacher-led assessment. You also have self-assessment. Now, the self-assessment in these very young learners, you wonder how will they self-assess? They're too tiny to even assess themselves. It's very easy. We have games for that. So what we could do is, we could get the children to color 3 papers, red, green and yellow. 3 papers colored and kept it ready. Or if they don't have papers, they can collect 3 objects which are those similar colors. And when we finish a vocabulary, for example, here it is the toys. So there are pictures of toys here and the words here. So what happens when you want to assess, when they are doing the self-assessment, all the teacher has to do is show them a board. So show them a board like this. For example, this toy, there's a ball here, a robot here, a kite and a teddy bear. So show this and tell the students to raise the color which they feel. If they can say it, they can raise green. If they can say it with help, then yellow. So some students might raise green, some students might take up red. They don't know the word yet. So that you will have to make a note. Who is not able to get the word? At the end of the class, probably you can practice it with the child or with the whole class. Not pinpointing that particular child, but the whole class. So this is one way they understand, okay, we need to practice these words more. Next, it is not just with the words, it can also be with short phrases. Like this could be for age group between 7 and 9, like go camping, catch a fish, see wildlife. So all those kind of short phrases which they can use. For these, it will be slightly different. The table will be slightly different. Here, what you do is you give them the I can. Can you change the slide? Yeah. So it can be I can, and use the phrase when talking, use the phrase when writing, and use with negative form. So here, the student has to be able to do all the three, then it's a green card. Or if it is only with help, it is yellow. Or if they need to work more on it, it's a red. So they understand that, okay, I don't understand this. I need to ask the teacher or I need to practice this. So the student also understands that they need to learn more. It's not that I've learned everything in class. That is the main point, to make children understand, be aware that they have to pick up something. So once or twice you do this in class, from the next class onwards, they'll be very attentive because they know they have to pick up something at the end of the class. Right? And next. The next one is for really tiny ones, using arts and crafts at assessment. So here it's like 5 to 7-year-olds. You're probably using a vocabulary of house and family. I've given a YouTube link here where they've given the instructions to make the house. So here the teacher can give it, this slightly teacher led, but this is completely arts and crafts. So children love playing with paper and colors. So get them to make the house, make the house, and then ask them to draw the words that they learned in class, like windows, door, and color the roof. And you can also ask them to write or draw the parents, or the father, mother, and child, either next to the door or under the window. So when they do that, they love drawing, they love coloring, they love doing things with their hand. With all these things, you will also know whether they have learned what you taught in class. Are they aware of all the vocabulary that you have given? So that gives them also an excitement for in class. Oh, so English is not just writing and speaking, it is also doing things with the hand. Especially for small children, you need to have activities which really motivate them. So this will also help children to develop their vocabulary and improve and show interest in class. Next. Last but not the least, this is mainly for, I would say, 8 to 11-year-old children. At the end of each class, use the exit ticket as an assessment. So here they can write 3 things they learned that day, 2 things they found very interesting, and 1 question they still have about the lesson. Like how when at the beginning, Mary said, at the end of the class, they have a takeaway. So what is a takeaway? The 3 things that they took away that day. And what 2 things were really interesting in the class. And last, they might have a question they have for us, but that need not be answered that day. When you're reviewing the class the next day, they could actually come back with that question and ask you, how do we do this? Or you can give them more practice in that particular thing which they wanted to ask. So overall, these are the things we looked at today. First is the assessment for learning and assessment of learning. 2 different types of assessments, self-assessment and teacher-led assessment, and also assessment with arts and crafts, and how interactive assessment is very, very useful for children and teachers to understand the level of the children and their progress in class. Right? So before I end, I would also like to tell you, please try to use these things in class and let us know how you feel about it and share your experiences maybe next month when we are doing the next session. Right? Thank you. And thank you, Ambika, for helping me with the technology.
Absolutely not at all a problem. Yes. Anyway, if there isn't a technological glitch, then the meeting is never a success. That's like a Zoom rule. Anyway, so is there any questions that you would like to ask her regarding the assessments? Or, we do have other experienced teachers who can answer and address any sort of questions that you have on assessments for kids. The floor is open for another 2-3 minutes to take any questions or share experience also.
Or probably even Mary and Chitra or Vinodini, you can share your experiences of teaching young learners. You've taught quite a lot, so you could give some ideas. Because we've done face-to-face classes, but online classes, if you have done, you can probably share some of your experiences.
Yeah, ma'am, can I?
Sure, Vinodini.
Yeah, sure.
And the stuff what you gave us today was really helpful, will be really helpful. The first thing, word
Thank
search
you.
was really interesting. And I don't know how you guys get these kind of, because I keep on searching for, looking for things, but I don't get much of the stuff. But this would be very, very helpful for me. And the last one, exit ticket. I don't name it as exit ticket, but during every classes, I get the feedback from the children. When I ask them how was the class, they simply say, "Ma'am, it was good, ma'am. It was interesting." Other than that, I don't get any other answer. So what I give questions. How was the class? What did you do today? What you learned today? So there comes the sentence, and I say them, you have to give the feedback. You have to mention each and every activity. And I collect all that and put it in my feedback blog in somewhere.
Very good.
That's nice. Very nice. In fact, on a lighter note, I have this one student who is he's a little genius, to be honest. And so if I ask him questions like how Vinodini answer, was it interesting? And he would say, no, it wasn't interesting today. And if I in fact try to bring a little curiosity in class and say, you know what, we're going to do something interesting. So every 15 minutes you would be like, so is the interesting part coming? And then you would just be so heartbroken that you've not reached the interest level that we expect out of you. So for me personally, I think when I started teaching children, I found, especially online, it was a very, very challenging thing to do. Thankfully, because of these activities that we've been exploring, and that's why I thought there was a need for us to share these activities with people who are probably having the same kind of struggles that we've also gone through. So that actually takes us to the next part of our session, where Nikita is going to show us a particular resource that's been quite helpful for all our trainers here. In terms of not just making the assessments interactive. Yes, Mary.
Yeah. Can I just
sure, Mary.
Add on to what Vinodini just said? Asking questions. Okay, at the end of the class. So instead of the teacher asking the question, if you can let the students just ask each other, but don't allow them to ask a close-ended question. So no questions that starts with the verb. Okay. So was it interesting? No. So they'll definitely say no, like what you hear in class. So always ask them to ask a close-ended question. So what did you learn? Or why do you think this is going to be helpful in class? Anything. Okay. Where are you going to use this in your life? So any close-ended questions that is asked, open-ended question that is asked will actually help them to think about what they have learned and reflect on their learning better. Just a tip, okay? Something that I've used in class and I've always felt. And another thing, if it is a face-to-face class, when you get feedback, when you get that exit ticket, another thing that you could do is you can ask them not to write their names. See, as a teacher, I'm sure you will understand their handwriting. Okay, so to ask them not to write their names, it helps them to be a little more honest with what they're writing. And they'll actually write what they want to learn further, or what they didn't like, or what they really like. It's also a good reflection for you as a teacher to bring about some changes in the way you teach. And also, if they really want to learn something further on, you will know that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you.
That's a very valid input.
Very nice
I should say, definitely. Yeah. Cool. Okay. So yeah, that
Nikita.
brings us to the next section where Nikita will be actually showing us a resource, a website, in fact, that we've started using a lot with our young learners also. So over to you, Nikita.
Thank you. So hi everybody. I'm learning a lot from this session, so I'm really excited to.
You need to be louder. Your voice is little low. Yeah.
Can you all hear me now? Okay, cool. So I'm really excited to be a part of this session. In my very, very short career, I have managed to learn a lot, and I'm learning a lot here as well, and that's very exciting for me. So yeah, like we have all discussed, teaching kids online can be really challenging, and there's only a little bit of gap fill and match the following that we can do to make classes not monotonous. So this website in particular has helped us a lot in making the classes participative and getting kids that don't like to speak at all to be more interactive. So this website is called ESL Kids Games, and it is mainly for kids and teens, but can be used for a beginner or elementary level of adult classes as well. So let me just walk you through the website. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So this is the website. It allows you to choose your activities depending on who you're teaching or what you're teaching. Personally, I would say go by what you're teaching rather than who, because when you go into kids and teens options, the options under these categories are pretty restrictive. But when you diversify and you say what you want to teach, for example, if you go to speaking, then they have options beneath that saying kids, teens and adults, grammar, first specific Cambridge exams like the BEC, B2 first exams and all of that. They have very specific activities designed for that. Let's go into one of them. Let's say teens and adults. So it presents you with a bunch of topics that you can cover with these kind of students. And I'm going to pick one at random, let's say fashion. The ads are a little bit annoying, so you just have to deal with that. Yeah, so it gives you a bunch of questions and then you press the start button and it starts generating random questions. And like Mary said, they're all open-ended questions, which really sparks conversation from the students, and they're not straightforward at all. They let the students think and think out of the box, think creatively, and they're very useful. And you can really get to understand what your students think about these kind of topics, and it's a good conversation sparker. So this is one thing that I would suggest. But my personal favorite about this website is it has a lot of games that you can play with the kids or students. So they have games for different categories, that is vocabulary, speaking, grammar, board games, young learner games, and games for writing. So I'll take you through one game that I've personally played with a student of mine that she was a teenager, but her level of learning English was very elementary, and she had a lot of trouble. She had a lot of hesitancy in coming up with ideas to talk about. So when I put her on the spot and I told her to, speak about something, she would have a lot of trouble. Then I discovered this game and it was life-changing. So first of all, she forgot that we were in an English class. I made it very competitive. I played with her. So her aim was to beat me to the finish line, and that's all she could think about. So she had a lot of trouble with articles. This is the one that I chose. It's a very simple interface. You roll the dice, you pick the coins. So I'm sorry, you pick the coins, you roll the dice, and you move the coins to the particular spot. And the student has to fill in the blank and talk about the item that is on their box. And, she didn't have to, she didn't forgot that I was probably assessing her, looking for errors or anything like that. She just wanted to win. That was her only focus. And she really participated so much in the class, and I got wonderful results. So I think that's one thing that this website really helps with. Another very interesting game that it has is this one that helps in storytelling or writing activities that you want to do in class. Just a second, it's loading. So yeah, it's called a story dice. So you have an option to make it a 9 dice game or a 5 dice game. for the sake of this example, I'm going to do 5 dice. So basically you roll the dice and you get 5 different photos or prompts. So what the students have to do is, using these photos, they create a story and they can get as creative as they want. And sorry, somebody saying something to me? Okay, yeah. So the best part about this is you can incorporate any kind of assessment you want in this. For example, you can put an additional rule saying the student who uses the maximum number of ED verbs at the end of this, when you're telling the story, wins the game. Or the person who uses the maximum number of vocabulary that we learned today in class wins the game. Or you can just go as simple as whoever has the funniest story, who has the most creative story wins the game, or something like that. And it makes it really interactive. You can get the students to participate. So why don't we all try playing the game for now? I'm going to roll the dice again. So these are the 5 photos. We have leaves, a dog, a question mark, a balance beam, and a lightning bolt. Okay, so if you all thought you were just going to come here, observe, watch, learn, you were wrong. I'm going to make you participate. So I'm going to give you all 2 minutes. Whoever can come up with the wackiest story combining these 5 elements wins. You don't win anything big, just bragging rights and my respect, which should be enough. But yeah, okay, so I'm going to start the clock for you guys. 1 second. Okay, your time starts now. Thirty seconds left. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, and stop. Time's up. All right. So I'm going to ask Rithika first, since she was my guest. She has the honor.
I knew that was going to happen. I knew that.
Okay, so are you ready?
So, yeah. So please be ready for the stupidest story ever. So once it so happened that I was like walking down the lane and I just saw a dog, and that dog was eating a leaf, and that got me really puzzled. I was confused. Do dogs eat leaf? Do they eat meat? So while I was thinking whether the dogs are carnivores or herbivores, or basically which side of the beam should I like bend, all of a sudden there was a flash of lightning, and this dog morphed into an angel, and I just couldn't believe my eyes that, was that a dog? Is that an angel? And then there was another flash of lightning, and this angel now became a dog again. So I didn't know what was happening, and that turned out to be the weirdest day of my life. So that's my story. I don't know what kind of a job did I do.
That was very good, especially for going first. I give you props for that. So good job. Okay, next I'm going to ask Sana.
Yes, Anna.
You're on mute.
You're on mute, Sana.
Sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Ma'am, I didn't prepare the story. I'm not sure about it. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. What about you, Vinodini? You want to try?
Yeah, I have tried a little. Okay, very funny and very silly. Okay, let me start. One day there was a dog was walking along the road, and there was lightning and thunder everywhere. So he missed his path, ran into a garden or a farm, and he saw fruits and vegetables grown everywhere. He started to pluck everything, and after it stopped. After the rain stopped, he had a question: what am I going to do with all these fruits and vegetables I have plucked? So he decided, why don't I start a vegetable grocery in the market and become a entrepreneur?
Oh, wow.
Super. I love that. Okay, what about Karthik?
Who else can give it a shot?
Sure, I'll
Karthik?
give it a go. I
Sure,
have a very similar story to what I think Rithika was saying. So,
Rithika,
but
yeah.
it starts with like thunder, and this guy finds a dog eating a grass, same thing. So he's wondering, how is this possible? It doesn't make any sense. So what he does next is he takes the dog with him, takes it to the doctor, like the veterinarian, and finds out that he weighs the dog and does a lot of tests and figures out that the dog's weight was very abnormal as well. So he decides to take the dog home, and every day the dog keeps on eating a lot of vegetables, like so much vegetable. In fact, whatever he buys, it's just gone in a matter of few minutes. So, and so what he does is he uses this to become popular on social media. Maybe this is like a different kind of species or something, and then it blows up. So, and this rumor spreads that whenever there's a thunder and a dog, it's going to be this type of dog. Maybe others will try to find and become popular as well. So whenever there's a thunder, people start searching for like a different type of dog, this type of dog, and maybe it goes somewhere along those lines. Maybe the dog starts eating up the entire planet or something.
Oh my God, Karthik.
In terms of wackiest, I think
I
Karthik
know.
should-
I think Karthik took it.
Okay, that's wonderful.
Yeah,
So,
that's great.
this is a really useful activity, and you can get the students to comment on other students' stories, and it becomes really fun, and you really forget about learning at this point. Which is
Would
the whole point.
Mary or Chitran, you would like to try? Give it a shot at your story?
Yeah, sure.
Sure, please go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So there's this dog. Yeah, it all begins with the dog. Once upon a time, there was a dog, and he was he was sitting under a tree on a rainy day. So suddenly there was a flash of thunder and lightning, and a genie appeared before him and asked him, "So what do you want? You have one wish. But remember to keep the wish a balanced one." So hence the sign of the balance. It has to be a balanced wish. So what is a balanced wish? So this was a greedy dog. And it was like a human being. So the dog wished for money. Since it's sitting under a tree, he asked the genie, "I wish money would grow on trees instead of leaves." So the genie said, "Are you sure?" "Yes, I'm sure." So he granted him the wish. And suddenly, instead of the leaves on the tree, he had all these rupees or dollars hanging. But then there came the catch, that he couldn't reach the leaves because it was so high up. So yeah,
Okay.
he didn't get the money. So the moral of the story, don't be greedy.
Don't be greedy.
I'm sure that's
Great.
like the most awesome moral ever.
Actually, a really good book to look within 2 minutes. That made absolute sense. So good job. What about Mary?
Can I just give you 2 tips instead of the story? Yeah.
Sure.
Sure.
First thing, see, when you ask the students to tell a story, give them some guidelines. Okay. For example, try to give a name for the characters or the pictures, like give a name for the dog. Try to use some adjectives. So instead of just asking them to think of a story, give them some guidelines, like maybe you
Right.
have taught them a lesson. So try to use adjectives, try to use some verbs or adverbs. And then, it helps them develop the story better. And also, as a teacher, when you're listening, the concept is perfectly fine. So however silly your story, it's okay. Appreciate them, but listen to how they are using the language. Whatever you have taught, so it's actually a review. Okay. Two, when you're nominating, okay, you as a teacher would know who's stronger and who might be the weaker student in the class. So then what you're going to do is, so maybe I'm just going to take 2 examples. Okay. If Chitra is going to be the silent one in my class, so then I'll say, okay, Chitra, now Aparna is going to tell the story, and next it's your turn. So be ready. So what happens? So Chitra is getting ready with her story, and Aparna narrates her story. Once she's finished with it, now Chitra is all ready. But if I'm going to, if even as a teacher, when I know Chitra is not so confident, and if I'm just going to say, Chitra, next, she might get so
Yeah.
tense. So
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
sure
Yeah.
that you give them some time to prepare. Okay, minded or the language and everything. Maybe she doesn't pay any attention to what Aparna is narrating. It's perfectly fine, but you're developing that confidence in them. And it helps them better, especially when you as a teacher know who's weak in the class. Okay, so be careful, a little more careful with the nominations in class.
Absolutely.
The reason
Wonderful
why I'm
tip.
telling this is because I have always been a, champion for special educational needs, and
Young learner.
learning disability is something that I always focused on, and this is one
Yes.
need that we need to always help our learners with, so that their confidence comes up. Okay.
Sorry,
Absolutely.
I have to interrupt here. I've observed Mary's wild class. It was one of the best classes I've ever, and I'm not just saying this because it's a forum. Really, it's a very memorable class, and the way she managed the class and different types of students was incredible. That was a very really learning experience for me. So thanks a
In
lot.
fact, I have to add one more thing here. She was in charge of the learning disability, child protection there in British Council. She was the go-to person for all the young uh,
Yeah,
learners'
Mary was the
problems or
coordinator,
issues.
wild coordinator,
Yeah.
if I remember.
Yes, while coordinator. That's exactly why I wanted her here today.
Thank you so much. It was very, very
Thanks, Mary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wish
thank you,
someone
thank
had
you.
done that to me in school. Actually, I would have participated in public speaking activities more in that case. Okay, so to continue with my resource review, and I'm almost done, so you guys don't have to wait for longer. The last thing I want to cover is that this website not only has its own games, but if, for instance, you want to play a game that is not on this website, but you don't have the necessary tools for it, they offer you these kind of tools. For example, they give you a classroom timer, or they give you different options of dice. So you can have a standard dice, you can customize the dice, you can get a question word dice just to ask questions, or you can make it a color dice. And they have different types of scoreboards where it's like a wheel of fortune if you want to go really fancy. Let me show that to you. Just a second. It's loading. Yeah, so this is really fancy. So you spin the wheel and then it lands on points. So this is a fun way of keeping score. If you would like something more traditional, I don't know if you want something more traditional, then they have very basic classroom scoreboards where you have different teams and then you just assign them scores as well. So these are some of the very wonderful features of this website. One thing that I do find a little off-putting is, like I mentioned, the advertisements, but we have a solution for that too. If you're using Zoom as a platform for your classes, there is an option to do share a portion of your screen. You go to screen share, go to advanced features, and then you share only a portion of the screen. And the screen can be, the portion can be as big or as small as you want. So then in that case, the students only view what you want them to see and not your entire screen with the ads, which can be a little distracting for them. This solution was brought to me by Ambika, so you should thank her for it. And yeah, so that's all I have to say about this resource. Do any of you have any questions?
Very nice website. Thanks for sharing. It is really nice. I have not used it earlier.
I would like to add a point. In fact, one of these games is very suitable for my beginner student. I have a beginner student who can just about talk or translate word by word from English to Tamil to English. So these games which she has shown me, I'm going to start using for my beginner level student. And I'm sure she's going to really enjoy it because she has an inhibition to talk. So when it comes to a game, I'm sure she will forget it. And like Nikita said, she will start playing the game with me. Thank you, Nikita.
Absolutely.
Right.
Okay, good. I'm glad.
Right.
I think all these can be used with adults also.
Yes,
all
yes.
These, if not most of them,
Definitely.
can be used with adults. And
yes.
focusing on the target vocabulary.
Correct.
Vocabulary
or even grammar.
Make the whatever target language, you make it clear, focus on that.
Correct.
It can be adapted, is very flexible. So
yes,
lovely resource. Thank you.
In fact, I found even the last part that Nikita showed, the dice and all of that, customization of certain dice. So even though you have activities that you have from your books, you can adapt it so much more easier when you have an online tool. Otherwise, what happens is you again go take a screenshot of your text page and then you put that there. So instead, if you have a customized dice, it just becomes so much more easier to make children interested in what you're showing them. So definitely, I think that was one thing for me personally. I used to use the games earlier, but this resource, this classroom tools is something I'm definitely going to explore as well.
Yeah.
Cool. So any other questions, suggestions, anything that, any inputs that you would like to share when it comes to teaching young learners?
Something that I use for giving feedback during online classes is a chat box. Because it gives a lot of scope for both personalized as well as tips and advice to the whole group.
Yes.
So I think that works well with every age group, but especially young learners who are very excited. And some of them don't realize, but they sort of try to take over. But then you use the chat box and then tell them, your turn is coming up, just wait, listen. So it makes things smoother, I think, much more easier.
In fact, another is, yes, please.
No, Ambika, you go ahead, I'll go next.
Yeah. So in fact, there's one strategy Nikita and I, in fact, use for our young learners, especially for reading. So, because our age group comes, I think, about between 8 to 11. So both of them are not really much into reading. So we use the Zoom filters for reading. So depending on the story, for example, we did a story of something that's happening in the ocean. So Nikita became a pirate. I became a person who had the background with the ocean, and we made him have like the scuba goggles, and so using such Zoom filters and then reading the story, they become so excited, and the reading activity just completes without it being, extremely like, oh my God, no, I don't know what to do the story. So that is something we've explored and found quite interesting as well.
It makes it three-dimensional, actually. Like reading can become very, reading oriented, one dimension.
Exactly.
Then doing this, it makes them immersed in the whole experience.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, Rithika.
I was just saying that you all can also try Kahoot, because Kahoot works
yes.
very well with
Absolutely.
all levels of kids, and even grade 11 and 12 students, they enjoy playing Kahoot. So you can make your own customized
Yes.
Kahoots, and for exit tickets we can also use Padlets. So I mean, we can create a Padlet link and
Okay.
use it as exit tickets. So
Okay.
yeah, these two things we can also use.
Yeah, I've taken
That's
a note
interesting.
of these two. So we'll
That's,
put this in the
yeah.
mailer and send it across.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super. Thank you so much for that.
I'm sure you all know that chats can be saved. So as Chitra was telling, when they type in the chat, make sure that you save them for your feedback
Notes.
and reports,
Yes.
so that you can help them with their writing skills also. So whenever they are asked to put something in the chat box, just give them an instruction. This is a language class, so useful sentences, no
Yes.
SMS language here. So
SMS
in a way,
language,
you're
yeah.
actually helping them.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll
That's
do that.
nice. Yeah.
Super. In fact, it's just a really wonderful session. A lot of us had a lot of inputs that we took into. Thank you so much. First of all, let me thank both of my team members who made it possible today and who put in quite a lot of hard work and research into what we actually presented today. Being our first TTT, we were also quite excited how it's going to turn out and whether the inputs would be quite valuable to everybody who's coming in. So we really enjoyed doing this. And thank you all so much for joining us and making our first TTT a grand success. Hope you all enjoyed today's session as much as we did. We'll be sharing this presentation while in the email and as well as the recording that we've taken today. So you can go back and, if you're going to use anything, you can just listen to it and get the ideas once more sorted. And I'm hoping to see you all for the next TTT, which will be in January. So we've not set the date for it yet. So after our each session, we'll also send you a little bit of a feedback sort of a form where we have 2-3 topics that we've listed. So any topic that you are interested in, please feel free to let us know. We'd like to take that up as well and bring it into a discussion and a mini workshop. So likewise, we'll probably having more number of trainers come in from the next TTT onwards. Keeping fingers crossed, we are hoping to do this every month and help people who are actually, trying to build their career on the online front in terms of even freelancers or English language trainers, like teachers who are, doing half and half of school education as well as the ELT training. So that's about it from our end from Thinking. We hope you had a wonderful session and we hope to see you all soon. Have a wonderful weekend ahead as well. So we'll end the meeting with this. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Ambika,
Bye-bye.
Nikita,
Yes.
thanks a lot.
Thank you all so
Thanks,
much.
everyone.
Thank you very much
Yeah.
for joining. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Bye.
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 Hmm.